And look who's here in the studio with us, Mohammed Jamjoom. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, Kamal.
So, can we underplay at all how important Russia's involvement was? It's only 2 years ago, but how bad were things for Bashar al-Assad at that time before Russia intervened?
Short answer, no. We can't underscore enough how important their intervention was. Because before they came into this conflict the way that they did, supporting with their air power the regime of Bashar al-Assad, this was a seesaw war that was going on. You had months where it seemed as though the regime was getting the upper hand, and then you had months where it seemed as though the various rebel factions and rebel groups were getting the upper hand. But it looked like something that was just going to drag on, and it certainly looked as though Bashar al-Assad was going to continue to lose territory gradually. Now, once they came in, that was it. That changed the game. After that, Bashar al-Assad seemed very confident that he was going to get the upper hand. Eventually he did, and really, ultimately what this did was to render these various talks that have been going on, whether they be in Astana, the capital of Kazakhstan, or whether they be in Geneva, almost meaningless, almost futile.
Well, that's what I was actually going to ask you about, because I was thinking the amount of times I've seen you in front of a live camera from particularly Geneva, but you've been to Astana as well. I mean, what has Russia achieved there? Talk me through a bit more of that.
So you had the Geneva process that had been going on since, I believe, 2012. And then in 2017, you had the announcement of this Astana process. Now, you talk to UN officials and they say they're glad that the Astana process is going on. This is backed by Russia, by Iran, by Turkey. It brings together various rebel groups. It brings together the Syrian regime in Astana, the capital of Kazakhstan, to try to iron out the mechanism by which a ceasefire would be agreed to and adhered to inside of Syria. But really, what Russia was able to do was to take a lot of the momentum away from the UN, from UN Special Envoy for Syria, Staffan de Mistura, who had been struggling for years to try to get these groups on the same page, to try to find a political path forward, to talk about things like political transition in Syria, and also to try to solidify a ceasefire. Then all of a sudden you had this parallel track. But behind the scenes, when you'd speak to diplomats, they would say, look, what Russia has done is really deflated the momentum of the UN process. And because of that, it's made it much more difficult to get these groups on the same page.
So we're going to be talking about it more then, aren't we? Mohammed Jamjoom, pleasure as always. Thank you.
Great to be here. Thanks.